What if I told you that Frozen wasn't originally about sisterly love and talking snowmen, but about a demonic mirror, a child whose heart turns to ice, and a battle between cold reason and human warmth? What if the story that inspired one of Disney's brightest, most empowering films was actually a dark meditation on spiritual corruption, lost innocence, and the danger of a world without empathy? When Frozen was released in 2012, it became a cultural phenomenon unlike anything Disney had produced before. It dominated box offices worldwide, won Academy Awards, and gave us a song that became an anthem for self-acceptance and liberation. It redefined what a Disney princess could be, reshaped the notion of true love, and taught an entire generation that the most powerful bond isn't always romantic, it's the love between sisters. But what most audiences don't realize is that Frozen is based on a much older story, one that bears almost no resemblance to the film they love. A story not about finding your power, but about losing your humanity. Not about breaking free from fear, but about being trapped in cold, heartless logic. Not about two sisters learning to trust each other, but about a little girl walking barefoot through blood and snow to save a boy whose soul has been stolen by something far more sinister than a misunderstanding. Frozen is actually based on The Snow Queen, written in 1845 by Hans Christian Andersen, and it is one of the darkest, most spiritually complex fairy tales ever written. The Snow Queen was written during a time when fairy tales were not light-hearted entertainment for children, but profound moral and spiritual allegories meant to teach, warn, and illuminate the dangers lurking in the real world. But unlike many fairy tales that begin with "once upon a time," the Snow Queen begins in hell with the devil creating a cursed mirror that reflects the world in reverse. Everything good becomes evil. Everything beautiful becomes hideous. The devil and his followers fly up toward heaven, intending to mock God with this twisted reflection. But the mirror shatters. It explodes into billions of tiny shards, and those fragments fall to earth, embedding themselves in the eyes and hearts of unsuspecting people. When a shard enters someone's eye, they can no longer see truth. When a shard pierces someone's heart, that heart turns to ice, incapable of warmth, incapable of empathy, incapable of love. In the story, we follow two children, Kai and Gerda. They live in neighboring attic rooms connected by a rooftop garden where they tend roses together. But one day, as Kai looks out the window during a snowstorm, he sees something strange. Snowflakes clustering together, forming a shape. A woman made of ice, beautiful and terrible. The Snow Queen herself watching him. He laughs it off. But the next day, everything changes. While playing outside, a shard of the devil's mirror pierces Kai's eye. Another lodges deep in his heart, and it begins to freeze from the inside out. Kai looks at the roses he once loved and sees only ugly, wilting things. He mocks Gerda for caring about flowers. He becomes obsessed with symmetry, with logic, with mathematics, and devoid of emotion. He tears apart their rose garden. He mimics people cruelly. Gerda tries to reach him, but he pushes her away, calling her stupid, childish, weak. And then the Snow Queen comes for him. She appears one winter day while Kai is sledding. She is tall, regal, draped in white fur and ice. She is not evil in the way we think of Disney villains. She represents neither good or evil. She just is. Kai, now incapable of fear or love, ties his sled to her sleigh and lets her carry him away. She kisses his forehead and the cold spreads deeper. She kisses him again, and he forgets Gerda entirely. She kisses him a third time but stops because if she kisses him once more, he will die. Instead, she takes him to her palace at the frozen edge of the world, where he will live forever in ice and forget he was ever human. Gerda is left behind, heartbroken and alone, but she refuses to believe Kai is dead. So she sets out to find him, and her journey is long, brutal, and filled with danger. She encounters a sorceress who traps her in an enchanted garden, trying to make her forget Kai and live in a false reality. Gerda escapes and is eventually captured by a band of robbers, violent, drunken criminals who plan to kill her. One of the female robbers, a wild and knife-wielding child, spares her life out of fascination. The robber girl gives Gerda a reindeer to ride north, and Gerda continues on foot through frozen wastelands, her shoes lost, her feet bleeding, her body exhausted. She meets a Lappish woman and a Finnish woman who tell her the truth. She has no magic, no power, no special gift. All she has is her innocence and her love, and that will have to be enough. Gerda walks barefoot across ice. She faces the Snow Queen's guards, who are living snowflakes with spears. She prays, and angels descend to protect her, turning her breath into a shield of warmth. The Snow Queen's palace is vast, empty, and silent. Its walls are made of snow and ice. The aurora borealis flickers overhead. Inside, she finds Kai, alone on a frozen lake. He is arranging pieces of ice into geometric patterns, obsessively trying to spell a single word: eternity. The Snow Queen has promised him freedom if he can complete the puzzle, but he cannot remember what the word means. He cannot feel. He cannot think beyond the shapes. His skin is blue. His lips are cracked. Gerda runs to him, crying his name, throwing her arms around him, but he doesn't respond. He doesn't recognize her. He stares through her as though she were glass. She cries. Her tears fall onto his chest, melting through the ice, warming the frozen shards embedded in his heart. They wash over his face, dissolving the fragment in his eye. And slowly, Kai begins to feel again. He blinks. He looks at Gerda, and suddenly, he remembers everything. The roses, the warmth, the love. And he begins to cry too, and his tears wash away the last of the curse. And in that moment, the ice pieces at his feet shift and form the word the Snow Queen demanded: eternity. The Snow Queen's power is broken. Kai and Gerda leave the palace hand in hand, and as they walk south, spring begins to return. The world thaws, the flowers bloom, and two children who nearly lost each other forever walk home, forever changed, but together. Disney attempted to adapt the Snow Queen for over 70 years. Walt Disney himself considered it in the 1940s, but the story resisted every attempt at modernization. It was too dark, too allegorical, too rooted in Christian symbolism for a children's movie. So when Frozen finally premiered in 2013, it wasn't an adaptation, it was a complete reinvention. The Snow Queen became Elsa, transformed from a distant, inhuman force into a deeply sympathetic protagonist struggling with fear and isolation. The devil's mirror, the source of all corruption in the original, was removed entirely. Kai was erased. Gerda became Anna, whose love still saves, but in a completely different context. The themes of spiritual corruption and redemption were replaced with modern psychological concepts: repression, fear of judgment, self-acceptance, and emotional independence. Frozen retained the ice. It retained the frozen heart. It retained the idea that love conquers cold. But it reversed the moral message. Anderson's story warned against reason without empathy, isolation from human connection, and the danger of losing emotional truth. Disney's story celebrated finding yourself, rejecting fear, and embracing your power regardless of what others think. Frozen is one of the most beloved films of the modern era, bringing warmth, hope, and empowerment
always
to millions. Disney reimagined the tale entirely, replacing spiritual corruption with psychological struggle and redemption through tears with empowerment through self-acceptance. But the Snow Queen remains far stranger and darker than anything Disney could bring to screen. Just another reminder that beneath even the brightest modern fairy tales often lies a darker, older truth.